Do I have everybody's attention now?
Welcome to the Wrestling Wrap-Up with Michael and Aaron, where we take the top headlines and most important moments in professional wrestling history, and we examine them right here for you, the fan. It's the Wrestling Wrap-Up with Michael and Aaron, and it begins right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Wrestling Wrap-Up. I am Michael Carnahan, joined by my special host, my best co-host, Mr. Aaron. How you doing this week?
Good, man. How you?
Hey, another day in paradise. Looking forward to 6 days from tonight. We've got a great topic today, talking about the AWO and what we got coming up next Saturday night at Hard Rider Bar and Grill with the 2-year anniversary of the Arkansas Wrestling Organization. So we're going to be bringing on the boss coming in, and I believe Ray may be joining us a little bit late today. Go ahead and get your questions and your comments in. If you have a question for the boss about the AWO or anything, feel free to go ahead and comment those. But Aaron, how you doing this week?
Oh, man, it's not bad. 1 week down and one more week to go.
Right? I mean, good Lord. I think this last week was my before you get to something you're really excited about and you really enjoy, I notice you always have one of them tough weeks when you're really looking forward to something. There's always something, that slows the process. And, of course, I got pretty sick this week, so hopefully we got all the bad stuff out of the way and we can have a nice smooth week heading into Saturday. I'm pretty amped for it.
Yeah, me too. It's my I love going to wrestling shows, man. It's just they're just so much fun, and especially if they're a big one like this one.
Absolutely. We got an amazing card on tap for the 2-year anniversary, including a last man standing match, but for the AWO championship, the last opportunity that the limit breaker D-Mike will have at the AWO championship as he challenges Gary and Tier. We're going to have the AWO tag team championship match. We're going to have a number one contender match for those AWO tag team championships, a ladder match. We're going to have Cataclysm taking on Grayson Beckett. All sorts of amazing stuff we got lined up for 1 week from tonight. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and bring on our guests to discuss everything. The boss, how you doing this week?
Oh man, I'm doing good, man. Just enjoying a good cup of coffee.
Hey, there you go. Hopefully it's strong for you, boss.
And you better believe it. Death Wish, baby. Death Wish. Unofficial sponsor of me. So.
Well, we got before we get into the AWO stuff, we kind of got a little bit of housekeeping stuff going on tonight. The AWO Revolution pay-per-view is going down tonight.
AWO Revolution?
Do what now?
AWO Revolution?
Or, God bless it. They're both A names. Shut up. Give me a break. Hey, I wish we were on pay-per-view tonight. Shit. Okay. AEW Revolution, is going down tonight.
You knew it was going to be fun with me on here, Bo.
I think the boss also wishes that we were on pay-per-view tonight. That would be quite a revenue source for him.
Yeah. Now I can find other venues. So.
Okay, so going through this, we'll start out kind of doing our predictions. The Casino Tag Team Battle Royal, which I believe is going to be on the pre-show, As far as I look at this, I don't think there's anybody that should win this except for the Dark Order. I absolutely have fallen in love with the Dark Order since the untimely passing of Brody Lee. That's caused me to actually become very, cognizant of what they're doing, and there's no better there's no better entertainment gimmick as far as like comedy and things like that than John Silver right now. Like that dude is over like a mofo, and I think he's going to get rewarded tonight. I think that they will pull out the victory tonight. Aaron,
I'm here. Oh, I got to be honest. I don't even really know all the teams that are in it. So I guess it's because of their name. I'll go with the Dark Order too. But I don't really like. I watch AEW here and there. I don't get to watch it as much now because of what's going on at home. So I don't really know who all is even in it. To be honest,
there's about 12
but I would go with the
Dark Order teams in there.
But
Big one.
It's all good. David?
All right. Well, here is it Silver and the other dude, or
Silver
is,
and Reynolds, and then they have Stu and Evil Uno, and
okay. So they've got multiple teams in this.
right.
Well,
Right.
see, I love Dark Order too. I watched a lot of stuff from Uno and Grayson, but way before that, when they were the Super Smash Brothers, Player Uno and Player Dos. I really enjoy their style and everything like that. I love John Silver. That dude is a star in the making, easily.
He really is.
But honestly, I've been looking at a lot of stuff. Seem to be pretty high on that newer team, Bear Country. Those big ass dudes. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about them and all, but they seem to be pretty high on them. But in all honesty, I would love to see John Silver get that bump, and then Reynolds just, he gets to go along with them. So,
yeah, and that's the thing about it. Like, obviously, I think the breakout star of the Dark Order is John Silver. And then you just, everybody else is kind of along for the ride. But really, everybody's getting the rub from this whole situation. And you can't say it's strictly because of Brody passing or anything like that. These guys have been entertaining for a long time. It's just now that you've got the eyes on them because of what's happening. And
see, like Silver, he is a shorter guy, but he's a powerhouse. But he has a lot of energy and a lot of personality. That's the thing that stands out to me the most. He's got so much personality. It's just ready to bubble over,
He's got one of those magnetic personalities that just make it so much fun to watch, being the elite and, Dynamite.
Well, you have certain guys that instantly connect with the crowd, no matter if they've ever been there before. Like, I'll use an example. Our first show in Belleville. Mm-hmm. Most of these people had never seen any of these guys before, but they knew about some of us. But then you watch in his first match when X-Ray came out, all they said, dude, this little dude just comes walking out. All of a sudden, that whole crowd erupted for him just because he had that instant charisma.
It was, and I love that for X-Ray. Okay, so we also have a Face of the Revolution ladder match, which the winner gets a shot at the TNT Championship. I know Cody doesn't tend to put himself over or tries not to, but I think Cody's got to win this sucker. I mean, it's either going to be him or the guy with the mask. I want to say Penta. Sierra, whatever. What's his name? I'm terrible with names.
Yes, you are.
What is his name?
Just go with Penta. You'll be okay.
We'll go with Penta. Okay, we'll go with Penta. I think Penta is going to win this. His partner's out. There's nothing else for them to do. I don't expect Cody really. I think Cody's not too interested in the title right now anyway. And like I said, I think we've seen that he's not too big on putting himself over like any other guy that is an active competitor and books a show. But yeah, we'll go with Penta. Aaron?
Who else is in it besides those two? Like, those are the two I've heard. Who else who else is in it?
From what I've seen, we got Cody, we got Scorpio, we got Lance Archer, and Penta. And then there's supposed to be a surprise debut separate from the one that we'll get to later that Big Show was talking about. So this one's probably going to be a
being different. Just for the sake of being different, I'm gonna go with Lance Archer. And I've seen the dude in person a few times, so I'm a big fan. So why not?
I've gained quite an appreciation for Archer, like, recently. Archer is freaking amazing. Like, for a big guy, I'll tell you who he reminds me of, and I know I'm going to get an eye roll from the boss here on this one, but he reminds me just of movement and his ability as a big guy. He reminds me a lot of the boss here. Big guy. See, I told you. Big guy, but like he's impressive. And then there's another guy on the card that reminds me a lot of the boss, but that's just from a personality standpoint. But boss, who do you think's coming out with the win in this ladder match?
Man, this type of match is made for Lance Archer to not win,
right?
But not look weak in the process. Man, I'm going with Scorpio, dude. Scorpio Sky. That dude's got tons of freaking talent that has been untapped so far.
He really does. And I know everybody loves SCU, and, you know, I do too. Christopher Daniels is hilarious with his shtick, but I feel like SCU's holding Scorpio back right now. I feel like Scorpio would be much better on his own.
No, they're not holding him back because, I mean, they're a great tag team. Hell, they were the first tag champs there. They're not holding him back. It's just a simple fact of he needs to find his own path forward, go on his own. True.
Okay, so we have a tag team match: Miro and Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. I'm going with Miro and Sabian in this. I feel like to justify the contract that they gave Miro, I'm going to say they kind of have to start putting something behind him. I mean, dear Lord, Miro needs to look like a monster, in my opinion, in this, because at this point we're kind of back to the laughable shit with Rusev.
I agree, and yeah, I'm gonna go with Miro's team too. Miro and Chuck Taylor, but Orange Cassidy's gonna get his stuff in. He's gonna look great. They're gonna look great in the feet, but yeah, Miro wins too.
Yeah, and I think Orange is probably gonna, once again seal the show with his Orange Cassidy-ness. But I personally, I love Orange and I love his shtick, but Miro needs to just absolutely ragdoll him, in my opinion. Boss?
In all honesty, with the way, like, Orange Cassidy, again, just like I said with Silver, is a star in the making. I didn't personally care for his character at first,
really?
But like watching his indie stuff, because people were selling the crap out of it, and because to me, it's like I'm not one that for super realism, nothing like that, but it's still got to make a little bit of sense. But the way they've done it in AEW, he's doing his little super slow-mo kicks or whatever, and they're just looking at him like, you're an idiot, it's grown on me, and the crowd is behind it, I honestly think he would benefit more from this win, but not on Miro.
Right.
Kip Sabian needs to take the pin. Miro does need to look like a monster, but to me, from what I've seen, it looks like he's come in more or less to try to help put people over as well. You know, because I mean, honestly, with as skilled as he is, he could have been the main event guy immediately. And for him to not be, it pretty much says that he's the one that said he did not want to be in that spot. To me, that's the way I look at it, at least.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think it's very impressive what he's been able to accomplish. So next up, we got the big money match. Matt Hardy versus Hangman Adam Page. And this one coming, of course, off of the Hangman turns down the Dark Order, and Matt Hardy tries to take advantage of him. Then he gets, bamboozled by Hangman. And the first quarter earnings for 2021 is on the line in this one. If I'm paying attention correctly, here's how I see this thing running out. I feel like because of the way they booked the Dark Order is going to end up costing Hangman this match. I think Matt wins. I think Hangman's a star, though. I think they missed. Not that I hate the fact that Jericho was the first AEW champion, but I think they missed a big boat in putting that title on Hangman originally.
Mm-mm.
I'm going with Adam Page because I think he needs it. I think I talked to the boss in the past about it, how much I think Adam Page is a huge star. And they're just not – I mean, no reason for Matt Hardy to win this match other than an interference. Interference from the Dark Order would be the only reason Matt Hardy wins this match. Otherwise, there's absolutely no point in it. I think Adam Page wins.
Right.
I completely disagree with both of you. In all honesty, if they want to keep it going, because it's a good angle. It's a really good angle.
It really is.
Matt Hardy needs to go over in it. But not Dark Order. They need to be involved, but they don't need to be the reason Hangman Page loses. Matt Hardy's got the money behind it and everything like that.
Right.
He's got, he's been hired, Jack Evans and Angelico and all them. He got Private Party actually working heel and stuff like that. Honestly, it's not going to hurt Adam Page to drop this match. He hadn't lost a match yet this year. So, I don't see it hurting him at all. Be a good way, if he does not lose legitimately, though, as long as it's, some kind of screwball type deal, as long as they don't overbook it, you know what I mean?
Right.
As for the Jericho that Page should have been the first champion, I completely disagree with that. The reason I disagree with that, Jericho, being the legend that he is, immediately gave that championship legitimacy.
Absolutely.
Adam Page was still on the rise, but he wasn't at that level yet because of him losing that and then his angle with Omega and then this and that. That's what brought his stock up to where it's at now. If he'd have won that title right off the bat, he's already at the top. Where does he go from there?
True.
That's one thing I'll give AEW credit for. They are building some in-house stars. And
Absolutely.
If they would have put the belt on him immediately, then when Moxley showed up, well, he'd have took the belt off of Page, and Page would have sunk back down. And someone like Jericho can bounce back from something like that, but Page is still, he still wasn't at that superstar level at the time, so it would have been harder for him to bounce back.
Now, real quick, I want to kind of give a caveat. Do you think? I don't know how much where I feel on this. So I want to ask you guys: do you think we're eventually leading to Hangman being in the Dark Order? I kind of would. I enjoy the chase more than I do him actually joining. I don't feel like he actually belongs. I like the oddball of them chasing him, but I don't feel like he actually belongs with the gimmick in the Dark Order. Do you actually think that they're going to eventually end up putting them two together? Or
I hope not.
The group?
I hope not.
I mean, I agree. I hope not.
I hope
but somebody's eventually going to have to turn heel, though. That's the only bad thing. If you don't put them together, somebody's eventually going to have to turn heel.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to lead into an angle between them. You know, I mean, Adam Page doesn't need a group behind him.
Right.
You know, in my opinion. So.
Okay. So next up, we got the street fight: Sting and Darby Allin versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. This thing is supposed to be cinematic, from what I've seen online. I'm very interested to see how they protect Sting. Apparently, they're very cognizant of what's going on. Apparently, that was the safest damn power bomb he took on Dynamite a couple weeks ago that's ever been delivered. But I don't know who wins this one. To be frank with you, and I know I'm probably going to get some death stares, I don't care. Sting doesn't move the needle for me in 2021. I'm gonna give it to Taz and Sting just because I feel like they may need the bounce back a little bit, because right now they're kind of strumming along, but this one isn't very needle moving for me. Aaron?
I could care less either. I was excited at first to see Sting back in the ring, but just because I grew up a Sting fan. WCW was what I watched as a kid. But come on, this isn't Sting. I mean, this is Sting. He's going to throw a few punches and kicks, and that's about it. It's probably all he can do at this point. So Team Taz probably wins because they need to win. I don't see a point. Darby getting a win would be a big deal. Sting getting a win wouldn't. So I think Team Taz wins.
Exactly. I feel like Cage and Starks need it more than Darby and Sting. Boss?
Oh, I agree on that. I mean, honestly, it's Sting is the type, he wants to come in and put people over. I mean, you've seen that with his short run in WWE. That's what he came in to do. Yeah, he's helping with Darby Allin, putting him over and all. But yeah, if you want, Cage is a legitimate threat to anybody, any level whatsoever. Because I mean, he's complete package. And Ricky Starks is going to have an amazing future.
Yes.
So in all honesty, yeah, Sting's going to bring in money, but he's also going to give if he puts them over, he's going to give them more to see in that.
Oh, absolutely. So here's where I think your match of the night is, and this is just my humble opinion, but MJF and Jericho versus the Young Bucks. I can't handicap this one because my heart wants to see the Young Bucks continue, just because I know how great a tag team they are, and this is their first, major company championship run. But at the same time, I feel the need for Jericho and MJF to take these tag team titles. I feel like they would do better with the tag titles right now than the Bucks. And I'm going to say something else that's probably going to be a hot take here. I think MJF is very quickly becoming the best heel in the business. It looks like we may have lost Aaron there for a second, but it looks like MJF is becoming, the top heel in the business to me. And I'm very interested to see, though, how this Sammy situation plays out. Will Sammy Guevara possibly play a role in the finish?
Well, isn't Revolution supposed to be like AEW's WrestleMania?
I think so. I think this is their big.
Well, man, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not like a huge Bucks fan myself.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't saying they ain't great or nothing like that. I'm just not a huge fan of theirs. Their style just doesn't resonate with me.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho and MJF, great tag team. MJF has got that old school feel to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's heel 100% through and through. Man, I don't really know that one. I'm not super invested in it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like for me, the Bucks in AEW, all their matches look the same. No matter who they're in there with, you know exactly what you're going to see. The super indie spots and whatnot. I'm not a huge fan of them, but then again, though, I do recognize their skill and what they've done. You know, so it's not me discrediting them at all. But I just don't know on that one, man.
Aaron, Bucks or MJF and Jericho?
I'm kind of opposite of you. Like my heart's saying MJF and Jericho because Jericho's one of my probably top 5 or 10 favorite wrestlers ever, and MJF is the best heel going in the world right now. So, and I'm like the boss. I'm not really a huge Young Bucks fan. So, I'm just gonna go with my heart and say MJF and Jericho win it, even though I don't really know that they will. I'm just gonna guess that they will.
The only thing that makes me nervous on my pick of MJF and Jericho, like I said, is the Sammy Guevara situation, because eventually that's going to have to come to a head where he, left Inner Circle. I feel like he's in line for a major face push, and if he costs MJF and Jericho the tag titles, and they're keeping him on the peripheral of this angle. They mentioned him Thursday during the press conference and all that shit. I feel like he may come back and screw them over, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so before we get to the main event, I gotta ask, who the hell's the surprise that Big Show was teasing? I kind of got caught this morning. I sent it yesterday to Ray, and I believe, and I said, I guess Kurt Angle's going to be the surprise because of that teaser that he dropped. But today he dropped another one saying that it was for his podcast. I feel like there's a lot of bait and switch going on. I feel like the one that makes the most sense, and this is probably the stupidest reason anybody's ever given for one of these, but because he's got a podcast with Conrad, and they tend to show up on AEW when they have a podcast with Conrad, I'm going with Kurt still. I'm sticking with Kurt as the Hall of Fame worthy surprise.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's already in the Hall of Fame. So the way I see it, Hall of Fame worthy, maybe he meets somebody that's not in that should be in. So I'm going with, and it's probably not going to be a big shocker that's going to get a lot of people excited, but I kept hearing Christian. And so that's maybe Christian.
That one's definitely interesting and intriguing to me. It would make sense. I would be more excited to see Christian than Angle. At this point, Angle's like Sting for me.
Because Christian can still go.
Exactly. That's the big deal for me. Christian can still go out there and put on classics, whereas, and this is no offense to Sting or Angle, they're getting older. They're going to need to be carried. And I don't want to see these guys get carried any longer. Boss, who you think it's going to be? You think it's Angle? You think it's Mark Henry? I've heard the name.
Mark Henry's in the Hall of Fame, ain't he?
Do what?
Mark Henry's in the Hall of Fame, ain't he?
I believe so, yes.
In all honesty, I don't think it really even matters. It's just going to be somebody that people online are going to bitch about.
Right. True.
Yeah.
I mean, people online are going to bitch anyway. But, it is what it is. It's just
I don't know. I don't read, like, I quit reading, like, the dirt sheets and stuff like that, the spoiler type stuff, because I want to be legitimately surprised again. I don't want to be, spoiled 3 weeks ahead of time who's going to be some surprise thing or something like that. I want to legitimately get that pop factor,
Well, and since I started listening to like Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and stuff like that, where they actually talk about the people like Dave Meltzer, I've come to start realizing just how much bullshit Dave Meltzer is on when he reports this stuff. Like, it is really an educated guess, the shit he throws out there.
I can't stand the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's special. Okay, guys, main event, Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, exploding barbed wire death match. I'm not big on these things. I saw the rules. Apparently, there's like at the 30-minute interval, if they're still going, everything's going to explode, and there's going to be different platforms that you can trigger to explode and all sorts of shit. I leave the title on Omega, take it off of Omega. Honestly, the AEW title isn't that big for me right now. I felt like they left it on Mox too long to begin with. Omega's great right now, and I love what they're doing with them. But again, this is another one where, I mean, Moxley.
You're more interested in the lower card than the main card.
Exactly. I think Mox is unfortunately, and this is what I've said many times, and people disagree with me, but you could have named him anything else other than John Moxley. But when you think John Moxley, you want CZW John Moxley, and you can't have that with everything that goes into a mainstream television show.
Well, I mean, that name was probably his choice.
True.
But
I mean, right now
recognizable.
You got Dean Ambrose under a different name, in my opinion. As far as that watered down character. So I mean, I say Kenny, but who knows what they're thinking. Uh-oh, did we lose Aaron again? I think Aaron may have froze. Boss?
Probably Omega. I'm just the type person I don't like to see quick title changes. Like you talking about they left it on Moxley too long? No, I don't agree with that. I don't like quick changes. Moxley put on some extremely good matches with some really good dudes. I know you're not liking the Moxley name, but with the less than CZW style, you got to remember he's a technical wizard as well. They don't like that, and I don't agree with it being Ambrose in AEW. Now he's a lot more intense, a lot more physical, than he was in WWE. So I mean, but I think it needs to stay on Omega for right now. Just simply because, I don't like quick title changes. And Omega is playing off this arrogant, I'm better than you heel, but he's also kind of chicken shitting his way out of stuff. I think it's working. You just gotta. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword on most of it anyway, though. So
right, absolutely. And I mean, I'll give him credit. I've had many conversations with Ray where Ray told and me both agreed that Omega wouldn't translate over because he wouldn't have an hour to tell his story and so on and so forth on a mainstream American television show. But Omega has what's the word I'm looking for? He has altered his abilities, I guess. That's not the word I was looking for, but he's altered his abilities and evolved them to the point where he's relevant and he's doing a damn good job right now in what he's doing for AEW. I'm not big on the exploding barbed wire death match bullshit stuff. I'm just not big there. That's where they lose me on that one. Aaron?
Yeah, I'm excited to see the match because every once in a while I like a good bloodbath, and that's what this is going to be, is a bloodbath. But Kenny Omega, I don't see there's no drama of who's going to win. Kenny Omega's not dropping the belt this quick. I mean, he just got the thing, a couple months ago? And he got the Good Brothers out there, too, which they could always use if they need to give Moxley an out for losing. So, Kenny Omega wins. I think it's going to be entertaining while it lasts.
By the way, applause to AEW for the amount of freaking work they're doing with, Impact, with NWA, with everybody, trying to not just get the shine on themselves, but get the shine on everybody. And even at a certain point, I think Hunter spoke on this. I don't think it'll ever happen, but Cody's saying that he'd be willing to work with WWE as far as the talent exchange. It won't happen. I don't think Vince would allow it to happen. I think Hunter may be a little bit more open to it. I don't think Vince would allow it to happen, but I mean, kudos to Cody on that, even though he throws shade at him every chance he gets. Every chance he gets, he throws shade at that company. And Triple H for that matter. Okay, guys, so let's kind of get into the meat and taters of this. We're here to talk about the AWO and the 2-year retrospective. So, David, I'll start off our questions here with this. Uh-oh. He's getting comfortable. He's getting comfortable. Okay.
I hadn't been awake very long, so I had to get a good stretch in.
Hey, I feel that. So, talk to me a little bit about where the seeds for the AWO were planted and how this idea that became the AWO started for you.
Oh, man, it started years ago, dude. I mean, that was one thing when I was younger. I always wanted to have, my own wrestling show or something like that. That's something I've always dreamt of. And then finally actually getting involved into actual wrestling and learning from a lot of guys, it really pushed that passion even farther. And when I got to noticing, like, I know right now we're not able to do stuff in this area, but I got to noticing there really wasn't much anything going on in the River Valley area, Russellville and whatnot. So that's what that was my initial goal, because I wanted to bring wrestling to this area. Again, COVID kind of screwed that up for me, because I had quite several options going on before that. Right now, nobody's really wanting to let anybody use the venue because of all that stuff. But so that's why we're doing the stuff, at the bar in Cabot. But yeah, like I said, that was the main thing, is I wanted to bring wrestling to an area that doesn't have it. I mean, I know years ago they had TCW here, but they were also traveling quite a bit, so they were only here, hit and miss, here and there. So I really wanted to push it for this area, You
kind of wanted to give the River Valley a home team, so to speak.
Exactly. We did for a little bit, but then the school board for Ola decided, that they were just going to use the gym for school functions,
Right.
So, we had to move away from there. And like I said, I was in the process of a couple of different venues right before all of this stuff happened. So that's the only reason why we haven't tried to do anything in this area,
Okay. Aaron, any questions for Boss about the early days of the AWO in that first show?
Well, the first few shows you did were at Rumors in Hot Springs. How'd that come about?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was
the Rumors shows did proceed Battle of Belgium.
See, Rumors was AWO by name only, really. At the time, we were still having to have, promoter's license and all that stuff. And we ran under someone else's promoter's license, but we used AWO by name only. So that's why, it doesn't, like, I keep very thorough records of everything that we've done. But the Rumors shows are not involved in those, just mainly because they weren't officially our shows at the time, but we did get in there because Ray. His roommate was event coordinator over the bar, and so we got a spot. I think the only thing that really hurt us there, though, is because the night that we could get were there was Tuesdays.
Oh God, yes.
So yeah, so that caused an issue with being able to get very many people in there. But now, I mean, the people that came were diehard.
Oh yes,
they loved it. But that's why, though, we ended up eventually having to move away from that, though, just because we couldn't make any money off of it, and it was just costing everybody way too much to try to do that every month.
So as we look at this, as we begin to look at this first AWO, actual AWO branded show, you guys start, you, Ray, and Josh sit down and you start making out the card. Had you guys, before you started the card, did you already know where you wanted to finish the card? Was that the first decision you made, was D-Mike as champ? Walk me through that process where you got to D-Mike getting his, actually, I believe at the time, his first singles title was the AWO championship.
Yeah, it was. I'll be honest with you. I typically don't have much to do with the card. I let Josh and Ray. I feel like promoter and booker should be two separate entities. I mean, some shows it works as one, but like for me, I had other things I needed to concentrate on. Advertisement. Getting stuff situated for the show and everything like that. So they handle the card. The main thing about D-Mike, though, is, I mean, young, up-and-coming talent. We want, with AWO, we want to do our best to build around the younger talent. Mm-hmm. I mean, homegrown talent. That's our number one goal with this is, the homegrown guys, the ones that, they can go out and work pretty much wherever, but we want to give them a venue. So like when they do, these younger guys, when they do decide to go out and travel and do other things, they've got a good base background behind them to show people and to show that they have the experience of working a well organized deal,
Mm-hmm.
As for D-Mike, like I said, we just he's a good combo package deal. The kid he's young, he's super athletic. He can work several different styles with several different type of people. I mean, I felt like me personally, I felt like he was a very good choice on that.
Absolutely. So you're going through that first show, and obviously we mentioned the response that X-Ray got off the crowd. Was there any moment where where Ray and Josh were in the back and they were like, "Oh shit, we may have to rethink this"? And kind of audible to X-Ray, or was it going to be D-Mike just straight through? Was there ever any thought throughout the show when you heard that initial response for X-Ray to possibly make
I just used him as an example. Everybody that came out that night got a huge reaction.
Oh, absolutely. 300 people, by the way, for the first show.
Yeah, I was using him as an example on that one. I mean, because honestly, if you were going by reaction, Joey Day would have been winning every match. Because honestly, without Joey, that show would not have happened.
Joey was fantastic.
Joey, he really, because like it was a benefit for the Havana Assembly of God youth group. Mm-hmm. And he got kids from the church to go to the schools and sell tickets. I mean, they sold tickets at the churches and stuff like that. Yeah, we ended up selling over 400 tickets for that show.
Ooh, 400. Okay.
But everybody in that area knew Joey. And, like, dude, when he won that initial Rumble, dude, I mean, that place just went nuts over it. And then when Josh beat him later on, they hated him.
Yep, I remember that. Aaron, I think you were at that first show. What were any questions about the first show we had there? I believe the first show was the Battle of Belleville, correct?
Yes. March 9th, 2019.
I don't have any questions. I'll just say, as far as, and I don't want this to sound negative because it's not meant to be, but that was the best show I've been to this point. That show, top to bottom. I actually talked to Ray about this a few days ago. I watched it again on YouTube, and it was just every match was really good. from top to bottom, from from the battle royal to the main event, and then that main event went on a long time, and it never got.
Yeah.
They never let it get down. They never let it drag. And Ray and Josh just beat the holy out of D-Mike for like 40 minutes. And so when D-Mike got the win,
it was 45 minutes.
45 minutes. But
They
no question.
beat the hell out of that
great.
boy.
Yeah.
Here's a funny story while we're waiting for Ray, because I know he's going to tell a few road stories, but here's a funny story. Driving to that event that morning, and I had forgotten about this. Number one, there was tornadoes all around this area where I am here in central Arkansas. So that's how we started the day, was tornadoes. We ended the day with sunshine like we have today. But yeah, we started the day with tornadoes all over the area. And then I remember riding to the arena talking with Ray about the main event. He was like, "Man, we're going to beat the absolute hell out of D-Mike tonight." And I was like, "Man, you're wrong for that." He said, "We're going to make him earn this title tonight." But it was actually, going back into that moment. And, Boss, you can talk us through what it was like talking with D-Mike in those moments after. The moment that Will's hand slapped the mat for that 3 count, you could just see the emotion, and in D-Mike's face. Because, number one, he didn't think that was going to happen. But number two, just the emotion of, you guys accepting him, I guess, for lack of a better term. And it was it was probably the most special moment I've been a part of as far as pro wrestling goes here since I started my career. Talk me through what that was like for you as the boss, and not only the boss but the trainer for this young man, or one of the trainers, excuse me.
Well, I mean, honestly, like I said, dude, that type of emotion just shows legitimate passion for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that a handful of times since I've been doing this. But like when he got in the back, it was just the biggest hug I've ever got in my life. I mean, because you could, tears in his eyes had me choking up. But I mean, just I really don't know how to explain it. I mean, honestly, he was just so overwhelmed with the reaction he got from it, with actually being our first ever champion. I mean, it overwhelmed him for a bit. I don't think it sunk into him completely until a couple of days later.
Right.
But yeah, it was a little bit overwhelming for him. I mean, for me too, as well. Because I went into it knowing, what was going to go on and stuff like that. But I mean, for me, it was an extremely proud moment for me.
And then, of course, fast forward 2 years and you screw him over by finally getting a title belt right after he drops it.
Yeah, well, I did the same thing with the bar brawl title for Asa. Asa dropped it and I get a new bar brawl title.
This is just how we work here in the AWO. We screw over our first champions. Man, let's talk about that first title belt, by the way. I used to always give D-Mike so much shit about that first title belt. Aaron, I don't know if you ever saw it up close, but if you flip the title belt over and look at the straps, there was literally screws that were poking into you on that.
They were bolts.
Or excuse me, bolts that were poking into you on that first strap. I used to give D-Mike so much crap on that. He used to talk about that sucker. But, he never complained about it. He always, even talking to him, every time you spoke to him during that title reign, or I would at least, about, what type of match and, what was going on, he always, it felt like he knew what he had to do. He always took it upon himself positive or negative, to try to have the best match on the card no matter what. And, in a lot of cases, he really did.
Oh yeah, he was like I kept up with my records on what matches I felt like was the top match of the night, and 90% of the time his name was involved in it. There was only a handful of times that I can say that he wasn't, and they're very far and few between. As for that belt, that was actually given to us by one of our what I consider sister companies, LFW. That was one of their older heavyweight championships, and I hadn't had a chance to really invest into a new title at the time. And so, X-Ray came to me and said, "Hey, man, we don't use this one anymore. I want to, if this will help out with the show, it's yours going forward." So, I show a lot of appreciation towards him on that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the bolts, so, it wasn't no way I'd be wearing that thing around my waist.
And D-Mike wore that sucker proudly, man. He was not.
Oh, yeah.
He was so
Yeah.
proud.
Now, like, if a company believed in me enough to put it on me as their first champion, you damn right I'd be wearing it.
He was so proud of that title, man. And then, of course, he comes back later and, follows up that month by winning his first ASWF championship, winning the Evolution title at the anniversary show there. And, of course, we got the emotion all over again from him on that deal. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, that first night, from the announcer perspective, we've gotten your perspective. From the announcer perspective, just one of the most...
Y'all keep going. I'll be right back.
One of the most awe-inspiring moments and one of the most special moments I've ever been a part of in the pro wrestling business was when D-Mike captured the AWO championship at that very first Battle of Bellevue. Aaron, what were your thoughts when the referee for that contest slapped that mat for the third time and D-Mike won his first championship? What was going through your mind? What was the kind of emotions? Because you're pretty smartened up and you're pretty close with all of us. So, you're familiar with D-Mike. You're pretty close with him as well. What were your thoughts going through your head and seeing everything that happened there?
I was, really happy for him. I knew him a little bit, and he's such a good dude. And
hit myself in the nose.
We lost Aaron. Aaron, for anybody that's unfamiliar, Aaron's kind of in a crappy cell signal spot, so he'll be back, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, once again, one of the most important moments, I think, and one of the most special moments I've ever been a part of in the professional wrestling game, and was when D-Mike captured that AWO championship. Here we go. Aaron, can you hear us? You good?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead and tell us, though. Continue telling us what you were thinking when that moment occurred.
I was just really happy for D-Mike because, he's so good. And we not talked about it last week. We named him the number one wrestler in the state right now. He's that good. And I was having serious doubts whether or not he was going to win throughout the match because they just kept pounding on that poor guy. But when he got the 3 count, I was just super happy for him.
Well, and you mentioned how good he is, and this isn't throwing shade on anybody, so I hope nobody takes offense to this. But let's be honest, there's been 2 guys since I've been in this game that I think from start to finish, as soon as they jumped in the ring, have taken to it like a duck to water that I've seen, and that is the top 2 guys we mentioned last week, the big man K Toomer and D-Mike. It was like they are born to do this. And D-Mike especially, he's got this innate ability. And, wonderful choice to start us off there in the AWO, and he went on to have some fantastic matches. We kind of buried the lead there a little bit, but he went on to have some fantastic matches. I believe his first one that pops off the page to me was him and Will Cage, and that was a different kind of battle for D Mike. It kind of so for anybody unfamiliar with Will Cage or Team Pretty Queer,
It's William Blackwell now.
William Blackwell now, the premier queer. For anybody unfamiliar with him, he's got a little bit of a different style. So D Mike, fast paced. I compared D Mike, and for anybody that knows me, this is high praise. I compared D Mike to Shawn Michaels. Fast paced, technical, just a clinic every time he steps inside of the ring. And then you have Will, who's more of he's technical, but he's also a brawler. He's a lot like Terry Funk or a Mick Foley. William Regal is another guy.
Basically, if you take William Regal and Mick Foley and go, there you go.
Yeah. And, it's a beautiful meshing of the styles with him. And that's the first one that jumps off the page to me because, and I mentioned specifically Mankind or Mick Foley and Shawn because I look back at that matchup and I don't know if both of you are familiar with this. I'm pretty sure, Boss, we've talked about this matchup before, but Shawn Michaels and Mankind from Mind Games in 96, where that matchup gave Shawn a little bit of his edge back. I believe that's what this match did for D Mike because he was able to not only do his special high flying stuff, but he was able to then take and alter his style, like you've said many times on this, Boss, where he was able to take and alter his style and kind of get down in the mud with Will and have a hell of a contest. That's the first one that jumps off the page to me as far as his title.
Well, I mean, he defended multiple times. I'll just go through right here. I mean, his first defense was against Insane Shane.
Oh yeah, anytime those two get in there together is beautiful.
And then the match you're talking about, where he went against Will, and then there was the next show was the triple threat with Will and Max Stone. Oh, that was a really good match. Will still doesn't remember it though because he hit his head real bad.
Will got dropped on his head on a suplex on that one, didn't he?
Yeah. And then D Mike defending against Mark Wolf. And you want to talk about contrast?
I forgot about the Mark Wolf match.
Yeah, you talking about a contrast of styles right there.
Oh, that was beautiful. And Mark, another guy that, I can't heap enough praise on. Mark is just a phenomenal talent that I wish, was still running with us.
Yeah, my jaw remembers him very well. But then you had one of my favorite matches, D Mike and Double D.
I'll be honest with you. If I have to tell you my absolute favorite match and the number one match in the history of the AWO, that's it. I feel like those two.
It was great chemistry, great character work, and then after that is when we started going to doing the bar shows at Hard Rider. I don't have the records for the first one we did there because that was not necessarily actually one of our shows. That was when we did a benefit for Insane Shane's brother. But after that, D Mike he beat Matt Odom.
And another one that I've got to heap praise on Matt for that one. Matt, fantastic, and he prays on D Mike for that, but Matt brought it up and held up his end of that matchup as well. In my opinion.
Yeah, and then the next one though is when D Mike finally dropped it, and you're talking about a couple of guys that instantly there goes Aaron again, but a couple of guys that instantly like showed promise as soon as they first stepped into the ring. Gary and Tier, that dude, in all honesty, the sky is the limit for that boy.
Absolutely.
Another one of my kids, as I call him. But he like combination of power, some technical, but the character work for him. Like when he, as soon as he walks through that curtain, you know exactly what you're about to deal with.
Well,
I mean,
and you know, when you guys first told me, you were like, okay, D-Mike's going to drop the title to Gary. I was like, okay, cool. And then I remember I sat back and thought about it, and I'm like, holy shit, Garion is so unappreciated right now. Like, Garion is really, if you want to look, if we were to make a list of the most overlooked, I guess, maybe, what's the word I'm looking for here? Underestimated talents, it would be Garion Tier. If Garion Tier,
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
I think if Garion walks in the locker room, unfortunately, people would have this idea. But once Garion gets in that ring, or fuck getting in the ring, once Garion walks through that curtain, you know, like you said, who the hell is out there. And Garion just, from the time he walks through that curtain till the time he walks back through it after the match, it's the Garion Tier show. And it's beautiful what he's able to accomplish.
Like I said, I don't think he's underappreciated. But in all honesty, if he wanted to, if he could, he did a show every single weekend. I know his work schedule conflicts with that, but he definitely gets off to work with us. And then he's been doing these Georgia shows with a couple of our guys that go out there, and he's excelling extremely well out there as well. So I don't think he's underappreciated. I feel like because he's not able to do different things, that he's just not seen as much.
Right. That's true. You know, Garion's another guy, though. Yeah, I would put in that D-Mike and Toomer category where you look at him and he kind of snuck up on him. Like I said, until you guys started talking about putting the AWO championship on him, I didn't look at him the same way. And then I started going back and I started watching his stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy is fucking fantastic. This guy is amazing.
Such language.
And then you watch it, and you watch Tier. The guy is just, he's Mr. Intensity. He reminds me a lot of, you know, to draw a comparison, he reminds me a lot of Angle from 2006 with his intensity. He reminds me a lot of Angle from 2006. I mean, he uses the Ragnarok or the Olympic Slam as his finish. He throws his own twist on it, though.
Version.
Yes, he throws his own twist on it, which I absolutely love. I remember the day he came up with that. We were talking about the pump handle that he was doing with it, but yeah, that was you. I actually remember them talking you through that when they were coming up, because he wanted to slide through the legs, and you were like, I think you talked him out of it to get that pump.
It had to be certain people he could do that with, you know. No, man, I've known Garion for years. I'm really good friends with his sister, and I met him, and I don't know, it just, you know, we talked about wrestling, but he had that essence, you know, that aura about him, and I was like, man, you know, you really need to come train. I really want you to get involved with this stuff. Now, I brought him out to my house for a month or so to work with him to see, you know, what he could, how easily he could pick up on stuff and whatnot. And when I figured out finally that, you know, he was going to be able to do something with it, I was like, man, I got to take you up here where we do our actual training school. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right. And like, I can show certain things, but for me, it's a good thing to learn from a couple of different people, because you can take those different styles and evolve them into your own. Like, I'm going to do certain things a certain way, but then Ray is completely different style, and then Josh is a different style, So being able to take three different types of wrestlers and mold your own deal into it, I mean, it's a good thing.
Absolutely. And, I've got to give a lot of credit, too, as far as I know we're on the AWO retrospective, but, kind of bringing up another company, I got to give a lot of credit, too, as far as, bringing Gary into the dance as far as the fans' perspective. Gaston. His tag team with Gaston was what really, I believe, took him, from he's a great talent to holy shit, this kid is a superstar. And
They
when
tagged
he turned
together
on
in
Gaston,
AWO as well.
do what?
They tagged together in AWO as well a couple of times.
Okay.
They actually went against me and Asa.
Did they beat you?
Not the first time. They did the second time.
Of course,
and then
the
we
boss
did
wins.
Shut your mouth. Not
Next
my
thing
call.
next thing you know, the boss is going to defeat Gary and Tier for the AWO championship. I'm calling it now. Oh, but Aaron, go ahead and talk to us a little bit about your perspective with Gary.
So the night he won the AWO title, I mean, I've seen quite a few Gary matches in person, but that one was the top. That match with D-Mike, and the ring broke 5 minutes into the match. The board broke in the ring, so they had to wrestle the whole match with a ring that's kind of messed up a little bit in the middle.
They used that to their advantage.
The finish with they did, yeah. And that moonsault that D-Mike went for, that Gary caught him in the chicken wing, was just everything about that match. This is why I'm so excited about next weekend, because if those two can do that in a regular one-on-one match, what are they going to do with no rules?
Exactly.
I mean, how big Gary is.
The sky's the limit. These two have done things in the first two matches that literally make you, make your hair stand up on end because they're so amazing. And, you bring up that first contest that they had, and it was a beautiful thing to sit there and watch the transition of the transition into our new AWO champion. That finish, these two, not many people on our level, in my opinion. And David, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but not too many people on our level would deal with that well. I feel like a lot of people on our level would probably, if the ring broke, we'd see a little bit of scrambling and the finish would come quickly. These guys, I'm saying, that probably happened 2 minutes into the matchup, and they went another 30, I think. These guys, just their mind for what they're able to do. And that's a credit to you and Ray and Josh for your training as well, to have these guys ready for that type of situation.
No, in all honesty, that's a credit to them. It just shows, because they actually, when the board actually, it didn't break, it slid off and sunk down. And what they did, though, is what a lot of people who've been doing it for a long time don't even think about, is they use that to their advantage. There goes Aaron again. But what they, I know that, when Gary would go for a submission, he'd put D-Mike down in that dip and use that to his advantage. He went for a pin inside the dip where it was harder for D-Mike to kick out. D-Mike put him, Gary in that dip to do stuff. That's stuff that a lot of people that have been doing it for a long time don't even think about. So, I mean, that has nothing to do with our training. That has to do with their mindset. That's not something you can train. You either have it or you don't. And they definitely had it that night.
Absolutely. And, once again, that just goes to their skills as workers. We talk about Gary and as how he's evolved as this talent. And like I said, again, the Storybook Prince, I think, brought out, a lot of a lot of this that we're seeing in Garion and brought him to that level. So I want to give him a little bit of credit on that as well, as far as being a hell of a tag team partner for that man. And while we're talking about tag teams, we're about 3 shows in now having tag team champions, and our very first tag team champions are still our AWO tag team champions, Team Pretty Queer. Talk me through a little bit. I know this tournament with COVID and everything ended up going a little bit longer than expected. I think we actually started the tournament when we were still in Ola.
No, we announced it, but we never did get to start anything.
Okay. I know we did end up starting it, though, and Team Pretty Queer ended up winning the sucker. Finally won the tag team titles. Talk us through a little bit about Team Pretty Queer and where you see these guys. Obviously, the Premier Queer, Will Blackwell, and the Pretty Boy, Matt Odom.
Well, I mean, these guys are really good. They're young guys. And again, that goes along with what I want out of the shows. I want the younger guys to be predominantly featured, And I mean, they earned what they got. I mean, they definitely earned it. They worked their butts off. I mean, Will, to me, is one of the most technically sound young guys, not even young guys, most technically sound wrestlers out of the state of Arkansas. The boy can work any style. I mean, he's extremely well versed in different styles and different abilities. I know personally he studies. He studies and studies and studies. And then Matt Odom, just amazing character work. I mean, Matt Odom don't turn off. You got. I mean, but like I said, he's another one that when he comes out, the crowd is instantly connected to. He just got so much personality behind him, and so honestly, they've earned what they've got. It's not this is what we decided. You're just going to take this. No, they earned it. Not just from what they've done with us, but what they've done outside of here. They worked their butts off for it.
Right, absolutely, and they have. We mentioned both of these guys challenged D-Mike for the AWO championship. They're accomplished singles guys, and then they came together and they've formed one of these great tag teams that, it's a situation where we really, they took pure excellence to their limit. The guys that have been together for years, and they took them to their limit. And, that crowd was hot from the instant they saw Team Pretty Queer for the first time.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, they like I said, they have an instant aura about them. And then, you got, Will doing his Ric Flair impersonations. I'm not going to say what he actually called him, but, just the personality behind them is great. I'm glad, Will is finally found himself personality-wise. I think he's finally put it all together, and he's amazing. And like I said again, Matt Odom is, great character. He's doing some good stuff out in Georgia area and whatnot. Like I said, these are young guys that are really pushing themselves to step up to that next level.
Absolutely, they are.
You like that word, don't you? Absolutely.
Real quick, we're gonna take a commercial break, and we're gonna kind of hype the event coming up this Saturday from Hard Riders. So we'll be right back with more wrestling wrap-up show. March 13th, 2021, live from the Hard Rider Bar and Grill in Cabot, Arkansas, the Arkansas Wrestling Organization, in conjunction with Podcast Network 49 and Hard Rider Bar and Grill, presents AWO Anniversary 2, the second anniversary of the fastest rising promotion in the state of Arkansas. On the card that night will be an open invitation ladder match for the Bar Brawl Championship. Will Justin Vincent's miracle reign atop the Bar Brawl series come to an end? Also that night, in the number one contender match for the AWO Tag Team Championship, see the Lost Souls Ray and Josh Cross take on the debuting Dead West in what is sure to be an absolute war. For the AWO Tag Team Championship, see Team Pretty Queer take on the Young Goats in what could go down as the most dangerous title defense of their reign. And after months and months of unprovoked and infuriating attacks, the boss has finally decided to allow the Psychotic One to take care of business, as the Psychotic Savior will meet Grayson Beckett. Finally, after holding the title for nearly the entire 2 years of its existence, D-Mike must step into the unfamiliar role as challenger as he receives his last opportunity at the AWO Champion guarantee for the AWO Championship in a last man standing match. All this and more will be coming your way live on March 13th, 2021 from the Hard Rider Bar and Grill at 6613 John Hardin Drive in Cabot, Arkansas. The opening bell will be at a special start time of 7 p.m. This is a 21 and up show, and masks are required. Come on out and join the AWO for Anniversary 2. Okay, let's go ahead and remove that sucker. Okay, so you saw it right there coming up. We have a heck of a card coming up this Saturday night, and we kind of got into the Premier Queer and the Pretty Boy, Team Pretty Queer, a little bit before we took that quick break. This week, they will be defending against the Young Goats. Heck of a tag team coming up to challenge these guys and, try to take those AWO Tag Team Championships.
Oh, man. Aaron and Zay. Aaron, Robert, and Zay Washington. These young guys they have a hell of a future ahead of them. I personally, I haven't been in the ring with either one of them myself, but I have watched a lot of their stuff, and these kids are good. I think they're going to be I think it's going to be a great match because Aaron is a bigger guy, but he's a lot faster than than he looks. And then Zay, to me, he honestly he's a lot like D-Mike. Fast, high flyer, but he's got the power game behind him. I mean, these guys are extremely good. And I'm really looking forward to this myself.
Absolutely. I mean, this thing, I said it right there in the commercial, the most dangerous title defense of their career. I believe it was Zay that D-Mike actually wrestled, I want to say, in Tennessee, I believe.
Twice, TIWF in Tennessee and then RWE in Grubbs.
Right, and I mean, both times took D-Mike to his limit. So, I mean, look at it. And then you have Aaron, who's been around, I want to say, as long as I've been in professional wrestling, at least. And he's, I believe, a second-generation professional wrestler as well. So, I mean,
I believe so.
Two very talented young men coming in to challenge Team Pretty Queer in what will literally be one of the best tag team matches we've ever had in the AWO. I'm calling it right now. Aaron, what are your thoughts on Team Pretty Queer as the first AWO Tag Team Champions and their title defense coming up Saturday?
Well, I'm a big fan of that team. I have been since I started watching them since they got together. I never heard of the Young Goats until a few weeks ago when they were announced as the contenders, and then I went and looked them up, and yeah, this is going to be a fun match because they're both teams are great.
They absolutely are. There's that word again. Dadgummit. So real quick, and I know this one kind of has a little bit of a special place in your heart for you. I want to talk about the bar brawl champion, Mr. Justin Vincent, a young man who another guy who I feel like is often overlooked, but the young man has so much talent. And he's really stepped into his own with this bar brawl situation, I believe. His matches with Asa Morta, I put those up against some of the matches D-Mike closed the shows with. His feud, and those were absolute wars over the bar brawl championship. And now he's stepping into, obviously, defending the title in I believe, what are we calling it, an open challenge ladder match?
It's open to anyone on the AWO roster.
There we go. Open to anyone on the AWO roster for the Bar Brawl Championship. And you kind of got to look at a special sneak preview of the AWO champion or the AWO Bar Brawl Championship there on that graphic. But are you going to hold on. We got to ask, are you going to keep tradition alive and take the title away right when you're getting a new one?
I can't tell you that. I cannot give away things like that. But I mean, in all honesty, we created the bar brawl title when we were doing our stuff at Rumors, mainly because, like I said, that show was on a Tuesday, so our D Mike couldn't be there on Tuesday night, so we wanted something to put out there, and it's essentially turned into our hardcore championship. Mm-hmm. But just under a different name. And I really didn't think that, like I said, once we quit doing Rumors and we just started doing regular shows, I didn't think we were really going to, end up doing a whole lot with it until we started doing Hard Rider again. And I got to think, I was like, man, this would be good for an actual, hardcore type championship. So that's why I went ahead and invested in getting, a whole new belt done for it. It's actually out in the car. I don't feel like going to get it, though. It's kind of chilly outside.
It actually kind of is, actually. For March, it's a little bit chilly. But, no.
I'm hoping it's warmer next weekend.
Hey, there we go. Justin Vincent is a guy, nobody has more heart than Justin. I can honestly say that. Nobody has more heart. Nobody works as hard as Justin, I believe. This guy is so talented, and he's a guy that it hasn't come easy to. But like I said, I'll put Justin and Asa's wars up against a lot of those that D might close the card. They
beat the crap out of each other.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Asa may still be feeling some of that. I remember. It was one bar show. I want to say it was, why am I forgetting his name? Anyway, Justin went out there and he talked to the gentleman before the matchup, and the gentleman's like, hey, give me everything you got. And Justin went out there, one forearm in, knocks the dude out.
Christian Cross.
Justin.
Yeah, it's Christian Cross.
Cross. There we go.
Yeah, well, no, he didn't knock him out with the forearm. At the time, the ring that we had to use was not, great. And there was a hump in the middle. And Justin hit him so hard when he hit the mat, he hit that bad spot. And, yeah, it put him down. It put him down. The match was only, I think it was less than 2 minutes.
I mean, and we saw the picture of Justin. Justin's smaller than me, bro.
I'll tell you right now, you get hit with one of them damn forearms, you're going to know you got hit with
forearm, and man, you don't understand.
Oh, my Lord.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you've come back from a match with Justin before and was kind of making sure your jaw was in the right place.
Yeah, you hit me like that again, boy, I'm going to deck you.
But no, Justin is another cat that, I feel like often overlooked. And, because of his size, but another cat that is so uber talented, and another guy that, the sky's the limit for.
Well, and that's why we put this match coming up together. I mean, with AWO, we've never done a ladder match. This will be this will be a first for us, debuting the new championship. It's still unknown as of right now. The other competitors, and I say competitors plural because there will be more than just one other person. I mean, you've got several different options on who may be involved in that. Like again, not going to give away any secrets and all. Just if you want to know who's going to be in it, show up, watch.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Definitely make sure to make your way out to Hard Riders next Saturday night.
And I do believe this is also Justin's first singles championship. I mean, he's won the ASWF Tag Team Championships. He's won the LFW Tag Team Championships. But this is the first singles title he's ever held. So for him, it's special. I know me personally. My first championship was the ASWF Evolution Championship. So for me, that title holds a special place for me. So I know, knowing that boy's heart and all, I know that holds a special place for him as well.
Oh, absolutely. And once again, I mean, ever since he got that title, I mean, like I said, the wars leading up to getting that title, and ever since he got that title, that boy ain't letting that title go away easily. I'll tell you that much right now. Somebody gonna feel like they've been in a fight. Aaron, what's your thoughts on our bar brawl champion, Mr. Justin Benson? Damn, you got the tornado.
I'm sorry, Michael. I got a fire truck driving off. There we go. There was a fire truck driving. What was you asking?
What's your thoughts on the on our bar brawl champion, Mr. Justin Benson?
I love it. I mean, Justin's one of my favorites. I said that last week when we did the top 10 countdown, and I don't know there's anybody on the roster at this moment that can take it from him. No offense to anybody else, but he's on a roll right now.
You're a loser, sir. You've got other things to do. Speaking of those other things you have to do, let's talk about a young man. And we can handle this however you feel free to want to handle this.
He thought you called him a loser, so he hung up on us. I bet this has been the most entertaining one you've done so far.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk about Mr. Grayson Beckett, another young man that I believe doesn't get the credit that he deserves, and a guy who really, in this feud with you, has his promos alone have been just great. I mean, yours are all right.
Man, I'll be honest. Grayson is extremely talented. The kid has got untapped potential, and I say that because he lacks confidence in himself. Mm-hmm. You can tell when you watch his matches, watch his footwork. He does a lot of stutter stepping. Aaron said he'd be right back. He commented.
Okay, right on. He probably waiting for the sirens to pass.
Yeah, but no, he goes into things. He lacks confidence in himself. I think he's paranoid about pissing somebody off or something. I don't know, but that's the whole deal with this whole thing is to build that confidence up. And because me, I'm pretty easy to work with. I'm pretty basic and simple in what I do. But that bar crowd tends kind of like me. So
you're a big gruff guy. I mean, even without your alter ego out there, you still have this overwhelming personality. Now, speaking of the alter ego, though, I love how we've gotten to this point. I absolutely love it, and it's not because the way we've built this. It's not because of you just wanting to bring that alter ego in. It's not anything. It's literally the way it's happened. It's a natural progression where I believe the last show he attacked you with a pipe, I want to say, at the end of the last show. And now
Tire.
do I not a tire
It
iron?
was a, yeah, he got me right behind the ear with it.
And now it's kind of forced you to bring out this, this other side in the psychotic savior cataclysm. And, this is going to be a hell of a battle. And if I am completely honest with you, I think I'm looking forward to this one the most because Grayson has stepped his game up so much that he's literally, and you'll probably disagree with me, but I think he's forced you into, at least as a character, forced you into bringing out Cataclysm, and I love that for Grayson.
And that's the thing is, it's basically, when I'm at AWO, I'm just me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm the owner, I'm the boss or whatever, and all like that, and that's why he's done what he's done is to bring out that other personality trait in me, because if he's gonna win, he's got to do it against one of the baddest guys in the company, and yeah, all right, yeah. But no, that's the whole thing, is to push that out of him, to make him step up to that next level. I've watched this guy, since he started in Arkansas wrestling. I've watched him grow immensely, as a person, as a character, as a wrestler. And again, he's another one that I feel like has not. Oh, I don't want to sound crappy the way I say this. Has not lived up to his potential,
Right?
because I know what he's capable of, and I know how ruthless he can be in the ring and stuff like that. And I've yet to see that, out of him. So that's what I really want to push that out of him. I really want that character to shine through. I want the hippie scum to be someone that when he comes out, they know they're about to see a damn good show.
Absolutely. And I mean that's the thing. You look at the hippie scum, and then you look at the psychotic savior, and I mean it just stacks up as a matchup that I can't wait to see. It's going to be one of the ones that I know I'm going to walk away with, and that's probably going to be one of my favorites of the night. Is those two? It'll all be on the Grayson Beckett side of things. That bastard Cataclysm, nobody likes him. Who's he ever beat?
Nobody.
Nobody important, at least, right?
Nobody at all.
Okay, so let's kind of get into it. So these two guys are very important to you in the AWO as a whole. But the Lost Souls, Ray and Josh Cross. Talk to me about these guys. These guys, obviously, like I said, very important to you and the AWO as a whole. When you were first coming up with this, obviously, we had interactions with them in another organization at the time, the ASWF. But what brought you to these guys, or the guys you want to run your company?
Well, I mean, it's not a secret or anything like that. Josh Cross is the one that trained me.
Right.
Josh trained me, and then over the last few years, since I've been doing this, Ray has been extremely influential in my career as well. These guys both have been doing this for a long time. I think whether like 14 and 17 or 14 and 18 years, something like that. I mean, there's a lot of experience behind them in that, but they're not stuck to one style. That's what I like about what we do. Like, we've got our flyers, we've got our ground-based guys, we've got our hardcore guys. Sorry, I had a pop up. But no, they're not, they know that you can't do the same thing every match and the crowd stay interested in it. So they understand that, they understand how to put people together that are going to work good together, that's going to put on the best show. But they also allow the wrestlers to create their own personality.
Right.
They don't look at say Grayson Beckett. They'll look at him and say, "You're going to be a fighting plumber. And that's what you have
Right.
to do." No, they see the character he's trying to work off of and try to be, and allow him to progress that character as he sees it. They may give tips on stuff, what they see going forward that he needs to do or something like that, but they're not going to push their own narrative onto somebody.
Right.
That's honestly, that's what I learned a lot from Josh coming into this business. It's like, you do what's best for what the show needs, but you also have to be true to yourself on what you see as you see yourself going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that mindset is why I trust them impeccably. That's why I completely trust on what they want to do, because I know that their vision is going to go along with what my vision is for the show going forward.
Absolutely. And they've got a heck of a tag team coming up this week. Number one contendership for the AWO Tag Team Championships. You got to put themselves over, got to be in that championship hunt if they're, PTT, Power Trip Trio.
In all honesty, this is one of the first cards I've been heavily involved in myself. I normally do not get involved in that, but this one I did just because it was the anniversary show. It doesn't necessarily go along completely with, what, storylines going forward and stuff like that.
Right.
I wanted good matches. I just wanted really good matches. That's why we're bringing in the young goats for the tag titles. Buck Skinner's been with us for he was with us in
Such a phenomenal big
last.
dude.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And then bringing in Walker Hayes, I freaking love Walker. Walker
I've never
is
dealt with him, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and he's not only a good worker, he's also a good person. I love him as a person. This guy is phenomenal. I think he's underrated at how people see him. I think he's a great dude. He's a great guy. And I think honestly, the tag title match is really going to have to step it up to overtake what this tag match is going to be able to put out there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing, with Ray and Josh, if any of you guys are unfamiliar with the Suicide King and the original Misfit, trust me, you want to make your way to Hard Rider next Saturday, because if you watch any tag team, this is one you need to watch, because these guys are absolutely going to tear it down. Not to mention, you add in Walker Hayes, you add in Buck Skinner, and, four phenomenally talented individuals. And I feel sorry for anybody that has to follow that, including yourself, boss.
Oh, I know. I ain't concerned with that and all, because I know I'm gonna be crap anyway. So
poor Grayson has to carry your old butt.
I'm too fat for that.
Oh Lord. Well, I mean, definitely looking forward to everything we've got coming up this Saturday. Definitely, again, for any of our fans that cannot make it, that may live in the River Valley or, in other parts of Arkansas, feel free to, we'll have our pre-show on here live throughout the day, actually. I plan on doing multiple live streams throughout the day heading into the event. And then, of course, we'll have the event on here. But with that being said, if you're in the Central Arkansas area, you do not want to not experience this event live. When I say that you cannot understand the feeling that you get during some of these matches, it doesn't transpire through the screen as well as it does if you're live. I mean, you saw the emotion there whenever D Mike in that commercial, whenever D Mike won the title. I'm telling you that my hairs on my arms still stand up on end when I think about the matchup between Garion and D Mike and the situation that's going to happen there with the last man standing. Obviously, Garion, a guy that won the title, 3 months ago? He won it at the end of December?
In October.
Did he win it in October? Good Lord.
Yeah,
hold
that
on.
was
Gary had been champ for 6 months?
October. Our October show is when he won it, and then he defended it in December. Because remember, we only do bi-monthly. And then we skipped January and February because of the coldness and all that stuff. Because since the bar, we don't actually technically have a locker room, so.
So I mean, I've been getting messages from my people in the business asking me, and I've been sticking up for them. But the question is, and I'm going to pose it to you: can they top it? Can they do it for a third time? They did it the second time. They topped it the first match the second time. Can they bring it up again?
Being it's a last man standing instead of a regular match, I completely have faith in them. Honestly, this, like I said, this is our anniversary show. This is like our WrestleMania type deal. I completely have faith in them to be our main event and to possibly figure out what we're doing going forward past that. I completely have faith in them for doing that. I think they're gonna put on a hell of a show. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're both extremely, extremely talented. And at the end of the night, hey, there's Aaron again. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, there was Aaron.
But I mean, at the end of the night, the person that walks out of there with that championship deserved it. Either one of them deserves it.
Absolutely. And, the thing is with this matchup, it's one of those situations where, you look at D Mike's title reign and D Mike can make anybody good. But this isn't a situation where I look at the matchup and I'm like, D Mike's going to make this matchup. No, this is Gary and Tier and D Mike are going to work together and they're going to make a beautiful. It's like art. I've heard so many times people compare wrestling to art and a painting. And these two work so beautifully together that they're going to paint this masterpiece, I believe, in 6 days that is just going to, blow the lid off of pro wrestling here in the state of Arkansas.
Aaron, it's your turn to talk.
Oh.
Yeah, Aaron, you've been gone for like 20 minutes. It's your turn.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that one. They got a lot. I mean, those first two matches. First one was match of the year. Second one could be match of the year. They got a lot to live up to this time, but they've proven they can do it over and over again. So I don't see any reason why this one won't be another classic.
Absolutely. I mean, the chemistry between these two, and God bless it, I said absolutely again. You made me conscious of this. I hate you. No, I mean, you look at these two, though, just the chemistry between them, and you literally, that these two are out there just trying to do the best for not only themselves, but for each other, to put each other on this. They know where you guys are putting them. They know this is the biggest show of the year. They know that they've not only earned it, but, they're going to prove why they earned it. And, it's just exciting prospect to think about what they're going to be willing to put their bodies through inside of that environment. Uh-oh, now the boss is frozen.
No, I'm not.
Oh, no, he's not.
I was letting Aaron talk. I'm just sitting here.
I don't know what else. I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot left to say about those two in that match. That match is going to be, it's the main event for a reason, right? So,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm gonna throw out some hypotheticals for you, Aaron.
Okay.
We're gonna do this. Pick the winner.
Okay.
All right. Even though you don't know who's in it, the ladder match, bar brawl title.
Justin Vincent.
Even though you don't know who else is in it, that's your only option, really.
What else do I have?
All right. Lost Souls versus the Dead West.
Lost Souls.
Why?
Because, well, I mean, honestly, because I've never seen the Dead West before, so that's all I had. Once again, that's really all I have to go on. I've seen some stuff.
You seen Buck Skinner, didn't you? At the last show?
No, it wasn't at the last show. I had to work that.
Well, Aaron, we're going to need you to be on YouTube this week.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
No, I've been looking them up. Same with the Young Goats. I've been watching stuff. I'm just saying, like, seeing them live and in person is a lot different than watching them on YouTube.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a chance to have them in person yet.
All right. Well, tag title match. Who's winning it?
Same situation, so I'm going pretty clear.
Okay.
The Young Goats, you know what? I've seen Zay Washington before. I have not seen the other guy before.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm going to go with an upset. I'll say the Young Goats.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen Zay before. I see what he can do.
All right. Cataclysm Grayson.
Grayson Beckett, screw Cataclysm.
Who's he ever beat?
I'm going to start calling you Will.
That's exactly where I got that from.
Yeah. All right. Now, this one I know is going to be the difficult one. Garion and D-Mike.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Now, remember,
Yeah, you're right.
D-Mike's
That is
into a corner. This is his last opportunity.
Yeah, he's going to be overly desperate. I'm going to go with D-Mike because he's got everything to lose. This is the last chance. He's going to throw it all out there, and there's no rules. There's nothing that can stop him except himself. So he can do whatever he wants. You know,
there's quite a bit of history on the line here for D-Mike as well. Can become the very first two-time AWO champion at the anniversary show 2 years after winning his first title.
I didn't even think about that, but there you go. It's another reason to pick D-Mike.
D-Mike,
and none of our championships have had someone win it multiple times. Every championship, you got to think. The bar brawl titles had three holders: Josh Cross, the inaugural; Asa Morta, Justin Benson. The tag champions, just a single holder. This is only the second championship holder on the AWO title. So, I mean, none of our titles have had someone win it multiple times. So,
and I mean, knowing D-Mike is all about doing first. So, not only would D-Mike like to be the first ever two-time AWO champion, I'm sure D-Mike's got his eyes on Grand Slam. I think D-Mike would like to hold all the belts eventually and become the first person to do that.
I don't know if he'd be that much for doing the bar brawl title, but he's not much of a hardcore guy.
He may get a little nervous there, even though in his second match, I thought about this the other day in watching some of his stuff. In his second matchup ever, I believe, was the Penitentiary of Pain. That poor boy. You guys brought him in and just threw him to the wolves.
Yeah. That was fun.
Oh, the first time I've ever seen Cataclysm do a high-risk maneuver. I still remember you coming back that night and me saying something about it, and you were like, well, Michael, I have the cage to hold on to.
Yeah. I have a hard time with my balance. That's why you don't see me on top rope much and nothing like that. So I had the cage to hold on to be able to do that, I'd actually done something like that before when I did it was a cage match. It was me and Deadly Dale against Josh Cross and Kid Crazy. I hit Josh Cross with a top rope Russian leg sweep because we had the cage. I had the cage to hold on to, so I could keep my balance. I'm gonna tell you right now. That shit hurt.
I bet it did. Well, guys, for pretty much this week, I think we pretty much reached our end until
Carnahan.
What?
We didn't hear your predictions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn it. So let me look here. Go through the card with me one more time.
Ladder match.
Ladder match. I love Justin. I'm going with somebody that we wouldn't even think of. I think we'll have a debut that's going to come out and shock everybody. What else we got?
Lost Souls and Dead West.
What?
Lost Souls and Dead West.
I'm going with Dead West in this one. I think the Lost Souls are having issues. I think they're having communication issues. I think that that could be their ultimate undoing.
Okay. Tag title match.
Team Pretty Queer.
That was pretty, straight to the point.
I think that we haven't seen a tag team like this. These guys are on one singular page. They have one singular focus, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to stop them anytime soon.
Cataclysm Grayson.
Oh, Grayson for sure.
Nobody has any faith.
Grayson's going to get the tire iron, and he's going to end that loser Cataclysm's life.
It's not a no DQ match.
The referee's going to be knocked down. Duh.
All right, D-Mike and Garion.
So D-Mike is desperate as all get at. I agree. I think that's going to be his undoing. I think Garion has capitalized well on the desperation, and I think we did a good job of doing that in the showing that in the promo. D-Mike is, D-Mike let his guns down the first time and allowed Garion in. The second time he was desperate to get the title back. Now he's even more desperate, knowing it's his last opportunity. Until somebody, same as I used to say for D-Mike, until somebody proves me different, it's going to be Garion Tier. That's the way I look at it.
I mean, there's going to be at least one other match that has not been announced. And then, like I said, there's going to be multiple people in that ladder match. Those have not been announced as well. Like I said, we got to keep a little bit of mystery in it,
I'm telling you, they're having a debut in this ladder match tonight at AEW. I think we may follow suit, and next week it may be somebody we've never seen that comes in and takes the Bar Brawl Series Championship from Justin.
I'll tell you this right now. Everybody involved in that ladder match has worked for AWO.
Well, I mean, there's some people that have disappeared since we started.
I didn't say not. I was just saying they have worked for AWO before.
So it's not Kurt Angle?
I can't afford him.
Oh, and I mean, of course, you have a habit of, introducing new title belts and taking it from the poor person. Even though, hold on, let's just take a moment to establish that the AWO Bar Brawl Championship in its current form is the most beautiful championship in pro wrestling today. The little kids, big gold with the Bar Brawl and that's been bedazzled on it. It's just so beautiful.
Shut your mouth. Look, I work with what I have, okay? Shut up.
Okay, y'all. Well, this
Really
Saturday,
take your mouth shut.
This Saturday, we're going to, I'm not sure when we're going to get started, but we're going to probably have an extended pre-show leading into the event. Who knows what we're going to have planned? Who knows who's going to show up? Right now, I know I am talking to the challenger for the AWO Championship, so we'll probably be talking to him on the pre-show next week, and we'll go from there. But until next Saturday, I am Michael. That's the boss over there, and that's Aaron. We'll see you next Saturday.
Put out the address.
Everybody's attention now.